Hi, everybody, and thank you so much for being tuned in to Ancient Jewish Wisdom with Rabbi Daniel Lapin. That would be me and my lovely wife, Susan. Now, don't be alarmed. I know that this is not normally how you see me on the show. However, we're old friends, right? After all, you've welcomed us into your living room. And this is how many of my friends see me actually every morning, because this is what we wear. Orthodox Jewish guys wear this for morning prayers every morning, except Saturday, not on the Shabbat, not on feasts, Jewish festivals. But otherwise, every weekday morning, we wear this. This is called tefillin, and it comprises a very specific box, which is a perfect black cube containing within it certain verses from the 5 books of Moses written on parchment, and then leather straps around my arm. On my head, again, a similar black box containing parchments, straps holding it in place on my forehead, and some straps coming down the sides just like that. It's called tefillin, sometimes called phylacteries. Why do I wear this? Simple. The same reason I do pretty much everything I do, which is instructions from the boss. And perhaps because I'm standing, I'll ask Susan to remind you of the verses that are applicable.
Okay, so we start with Exodus, and it's the 13th chapter of Exodus, the 16th verse. And why don't we do it in Hebrew first, and then we'll translate it in English. V'haya la'ot al yadcha u'totafos bein einecha ki b'chozek yad hotzianu Hashem mimitzrayim. English, and it shall be a sign upon your arm. That's the tefillin that go on the hand, on the arm, and a phylactery between your eyes. Now, I have no idea what a phylactery is, and I have a feeling you don't either. It might have some Latin derivation. I'm not even sure where it comes from. But it's the word chosen, and it's never used in another sense. I mean, you don't walk around. It's not one of those things you use on a daily basis when you're on the bus going to work. But it's one of those words that is used to translate one of the words in Hebrew that no one knows how to translate. And so it should be phylacteries between your eyes, for with a strong hand Hashem removed us from Egypt. And then we have another verse, and this comes a little later. This comes in the book of Deuteronomy, in the 6th chapter. Again, I'll start with the Hebrew and then go into the English. Ukshartam laos al yadecha v'hayu l'totafos bein einecha. And you shall bind them as a sign upon your arm, and let them be phylacteries between your eyes. And this is one of the amazing things actually, is really, I mean, do you know what a phylactery is? Would you know what that is? No, no one would. However, somehow Jewish communities all around the world, Jewish communities which had no connection with each other, and they've even found tefillin, these phylacteries, on Masada. Somehow, well, not somehow, it's not a surprise if you're a believer and you know that God told Moses and described this in great detail, and it was passed down. This is what tefillin have looked like in all communities all around the world, and in all different times, decades, centuries, and even millennia.
So what is the idea? Well, look, there was a movie a long time ago, ages, must be 40 years ago maybe. There was a movie called
Something your parents told you about.
Yeah, right.
Not that we would remember this ourselves.
Yeah, we weren't allowed in movies back in those days, but 2001: A Space Odyssey. And what this was about was a group of spacemen looking into the future. The movie was made back in the 60s, I want to think. And Can
you just stop a minute? Do you think when people make a movie that says 2001, or George Orwell wrote a book 1984, and this was, do you think they stop and say, well, wait a second, I mean, do they just not think it's going to be last around, or is it so far in the future that they can't even fathom that it'll ever?
I'm sure when Stanley Kubrick did the 2001: A Space Odyssey, it just seemed like a long time
you must think
ahead.
that when high school students, and I assume they still read 1984, I hope they do, you assume when the teacher brings it out and it's 1984, they go, oh, it's a book about history.
Yeah, right. These spacemen arrive on the moon and Shockingly, they discover a large, shiny, black monolith, a cube, like a rectangular cubic object sitting on the moon. They immediately say, it means intelligent beings have been here before. And that's absolutely right, because in nature, you do not find any shiny, absolutely perfect black cubes. They don't exist. And therein lies the secret of the shape of the tefillin. In the same way that in the movie, it was absolutely reliable proof that some human being or some intelligent being had been on the moon before, because otherwise, how did this shiny black box get there? Similarly, we wear this tefillin to speak of the uniqueness of human beings. The world without human beings produces no shiny black boxes. If you see any shiny black boxes, that means that the one creature who was touched by the finger of God, namely us, human beings, we must have been here. That's how it came about.